Hey everybody, it's Philly from Foap, and we're here with the first Foap Show episode that we hope to have going every 2 weeks, and maybe even sooner and faster after that. This is something we're looking forward to, where we'll be telling you all about mission winners, upcoming missions that we've got, new features and plans for Foap, as well as photographic news that we'd love to share with you. So stay tuned, come back very often, and we'll have lots of cool stuff for you. So let's get started. First thing that we're going to get into today is the news from the last 2 weeks. And there's been a lot going on, so let's dig into it a little bit. The first thing that we got to talk about is Nikon. They've released 2 fantastic new lenses, including the 85mm f1.2. This is for their brand new Z-mount lens. These are their mirrorless line of cameras. These are fantastic cameras, and the lenses are just absolutely stellar. When it comes to a lens like the 85 1.2, anybody that's familiar with these numbers knows that this is a very high quality lens. If you're shooting anything like portrait, wedding, fashion, glamour, this kind of lens is exactly what you need because it offers really sharp details for anything that you've got in focus, but the whole area behind out of focus offers this beautiful bokeh, which is the background blur. You know those kind of like blobby lights that you sometimes see in these glamorous portrait shots? That's bokeh. These lenses are exactly what kind of make that whole thing a reality. So the thing about the 85mm 1.2 is it will be coming out in March, and the downside about these kind of lenses is they're not exactly cheap. They tend to be kind of among the most expensive lenses that a lens manufacturer will offer, but the trade-off is you get this fantastic quality that is almost not reproducible with anything else. Next, we've got another lens from Nikon, and this one's a little bit strange. It's a 26mm f2.8. Now, 26mm is not something that you typically see, but it's a great little lens anyways. The lens is notorious for having one cool feature, and that's its pancake profile. Anybody that's familiar with pancake lenses knows a little bit about what that really means. Essentially, a pancake lens is very flat in terms of its profile, so that means it doesn't really protrude much, which makes it great for traveling around. You can essentially slip this into a little side bag if you want. Now, from the early reports and test shots that I've seen, the quality of this camera lens is fantastic, actually. And I mean, for a full frame 26mm 2.8, I think that's very cool. These lenses, like I said before, will be out in March. We don't know the exact date just yet, but I think you might be able to find that information on Nikon's website. As for the 26mm f2.8, we're looking at about $499 US, and for the 85 1.2, that one's going to be a lot steeper, $2799.95. That's going to hurt. I'm going to need to stop eating so much avocado toast. Oh well. Canon, on the other hand, has also launched a few new lenses that it hopes to come out with probably around springtime. The first of these is a zoom lens called the 24 to 50mm. This one is a variable aperture lens with an f4.5 to 6.3, and it includes the IS, which is the image stabilization system from Canon, along with their STM. This is a type of focusing motor that is great for anybody shooting video because it offers a lot silenter of an adjustment. When you use those old USM lenses, although the autofocus can be a lot faster for when you're taking photos, you'll hear all the gears whirring and things like that, and it can be very distracting to capturing any audio. These STM lenses hope to correct that, but downside is they're not going to be just as fast. The next lens that Canon has coming out is going to be a crop sensor lens. Both of these lenses, by the way, are for their RF mount, but the new one is for the AFS, which is the crop sensor format. These are sensors with about 1.5 in terms of the crop. Now, the second lens is the 55 to 210. This is essentially kind of like a kit carry-around lens for just taking any telephoto shots that you might need. So great for wildlife, great for going out, taking street photography photos without really getting into anybody's face. And they actually do a pretty good job at taking portrait photos if you've got enough room to work with. Now, these two lenses, because they are kind of aimed more at the affordable market, they're not going to be as expensive. Rumor has it they're going to be between $300, maybe $400 US. Besides that, we are expecting those lenses to roll out in spring. Next up, we have Samsung. Samsung is making some big waves with its new flagship phone, the S23 Ultra. Why is it making these waves? Well, their newest sensor on this camera is going to boast an absolutely astonishing 200 megapixels. This is the most that I've ever heard about on a consumer phone, and man, it's going to take some heavy-duty image processing to really get that thing to put that out. Because as you probably are aware, it's not actually a 200 megapixel sensor. There's some, little magic going on behind the scenes to make that a reality. If you're taking photos day to day, that resolution is probably going to be a bit overkill. Nobody really wants to be editing 200 megapixel photos, and I mean the storage space that you're going to require for that is going to be astronomical. The other thing that is being announced with these cameras, though, is something that got overshadowed by this megapixel announcement, and that is the fact that that Samsung is offering raw photo imaging right in the camera now. Before, you used to have to go get some third-party apps or go on the Google Play Store and kind of fish around for a way to get that raw image. And a raw image, for anybody that doesn't know, is an uncompressed image. That gives you a lot more flexibility if you're in the editing room, and it really gets the most out of your photos. Anytime you maybe miss the color balance, boom. If it's a raw photo, you can just slide that slider back to blue, and boom, you've got a fantastic shot. It's properly color balanced all of a sudden, even though you maybe messed it up at the beginning. As for the next bit of news, this one has a bit to do with AI, and that is referring to Getty's latest lawsuit, which is an astounding 1.8 trillion as a result of it stating that an AI company has stolen their images, 12 million of them. So for each of these images, it's seeking damages, and that is why you have this $1.8 trillion lawsuit. Now, the company in question is known as Stability AI, and I mean, it's not looking good, because for anybody that's been paying attention to this story, there have been photos that have recreated the Getty Images watermark, which means that these images were very likely being used to train this AI. A lot of people who are involved in copyright are saying that this could be a precedent-setting thing, so we will be keeping our ears to the ground and our eyes right on the page to find out more details and let you know about them as soon as they come out. Now we're going on to our next little section, and this is all about our mission winners. Every week that we do these podcasts, we'd like to, give a little shout out to our Foapers that are submitting fantastic quality images, and just to highlight them for our community to show what's going on behind the scenes. Our first one today is from our Best Photos of December mission, and it is from user Anna Triono, and it is of a beautiful butterfly. This photo is kind of astounding for a couple of reasons. The first is it's a macro shot. Anybody that's shot macro knows that these kind of shots are very difficult to shoot. In particular, you'll notice at the front of the frame, there's a bit of a blurry blob there. That's actually a flower or some sort of plant in front of the thing, and if you're trying to shoot with autofocus, it's really easy to just miss that focus by incorrectly shooting that as your subject. That would completely blur out the butterfly, but here, as you can see, the image is tack sharp right on the subject, and that is fantastic. Now, the other cool thing about this photo is it's got this beautiful dynamic play between the colors. Anybody that is a bit familiar with color theory knows that orange and blue are very complementary. You see this all the time on, for example, movie posters. So much that kind of became a little bit of a meme at one point, and there was a bit of backlash. But here you've got this beautiful orange winged butterfly, and you've got these sort of pollen dusts that you can see on their wings. And then you contrast that with that beautiful blue background. It really captures the eye and just draws your attention right to it. Fantastic photo, Anna. And next we'll be going to user Dodik's photo. And this one is of rice fields and mountains in Indonesia. This is another fantastic photo from our December mission. And it's kind of a landscape photo, but it really just absolutely draws your attention with these leading lines. You can see heading down the paddy just kind of to the left, and that really leads your eye towards this beautiful sort of horizon line. Again, you see that orange mixing with the blue, so My theory is that this was probably taken close to magic hour. Anybody that knows this is probably also familiar with it maybe being called golden hour. And this is the time of day when the sunlight kind of hits at a very specific angle, creates this beautiful golden hue. And so it's really great. If you're out there shooting, try to target your timing for golden hour. It's fantastic. Now, the next photo that we've got coming up for today is from Photo Pavel, and this one is of an old man on a fishing boat in the middle of a lake on a misty day. Now, there's something very cool and calming about this photo to me. It's got a lot of negative space. I would call it even a minimalist photo. It's a real shame that our 16:9 landscape style for this photo is not really doing it justice, because this is a vertical image. So there's actually a lot more headspace and a little bit more on the bottom there of the foreground with the water included. It'd be great if we could show you this whole thing, but unfortunately we've only got the crop here. But definitely head over to the user's page and see the full image. It is absolutely stunning, and it evokes this beautiful, tranquil, sort of solitary mood, which I absolutely love. Our final photo for the best photos of December comes from Jenna W.A. Salami. Or hopefully that's not Wasalami and I'm mispronouncing it, but sorry if I did. This is a great photo that uses something known as symmetrical composition. This is a fantastic choice if you have things like architecture, because it really highlights how these kind of bold lines and structures all come together. You've got these leading lines that kind of lure your eyes down this tunnel under the bridge, and then this kind of golden colors mixing with the light blue in the back and the white just really puts it all together in terms of a nice composition and color array. Next up, we have our next mission, and that was known as the Best Food in the World mission. Now, we had a lot of cool submissions here and a lot of very creative treats and meals from around the world, but we picked two to discuss today, and we picked them because they're kind of contrasting and we wanted to showcase that a little bit. The first one comes from our user Maria KS, and it's something called Landgang. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's a Swedish type of sandwich, very traditional, often employs butter, cream cheese, sometimes pate. But in this case, we've got what looks like maybe butter and some shrimp. That is actually a lot of shrimp. I don't know if I could really handle a mouthful that heavy myself, but hey, I'm not Swedish, so what can you do? The beautiful thing about this image, though, is the slight overexposure. When it comes to food photography, when you have these kind of bright, popping colors, overexposing the image helps bring out that shadow detail a little bit. Now, I know it's not great to kind of blow out the background or any of the highlights, but it's not too rough here. Your subject is still very much there. You still can see exactly what's going on. And the colors and the aesthetic of it all is very, very pleasing. And most importantly, the meal actually looks very tasty. So anytime you're doing food photography and you want to kind of try out overexposing, definitely give it a shot. The other image that we've got selected for today from the Best Food in the World mission comes from Zuifa Ibrahimi. And once again, I am sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but this one is a bit of an opposite to the first one in that it's a bit underexposed. This is what appears to be possibly a yogurt parfait, and I actually really like the style of this image. You've got this slight underexposure, you've got this beautiful wood grain backdrop on the bottom there, kind of littered with berries and some seeds, and then you've got the parfait top down, really showcasing and highlighting those seeds, the nuts, and just it looks absolutely delicious. I don't know what it is about these two food photos, but we've got very healthy looking options for this, and I'm actually pretty pleased to see that myself. You know, let's all take care of ourselves. You know, keep it nice. Next on, we've got our ongoing missions, which are currently happening right this minute. The first one today is the photo of the month for February. Now, this mission is available to all Foap Plus users, provided that they actually entered a mission last month or earlier. Now, if you would like to get into these kind of missions in the future, get that mission started right now, get some photos into a mission, and next month when another mission like this comes up, you might have that Foap Plus status, and all of a sudden, bam, you'll have it unlocked right there, ready to go. There's lots of other exclusive missions that I won't be talking about today, but we will be talking about in future episodes, and definitely keep your eyes out for those because they are great and they're a fantastic source with a smaller pool, which increases your chances of winning. The photo of the month is a kind of a bit of a free-for-all. You can take photos of anything you want, provided that the image follows our guidelines and, is properly composed in the hopes of winning. The next one that we have is the Turkey and Syria earthquake relief mission. Now, this is a mission that is slightly different than our usual missions in that there is no payout for anybody that submits a photo. As I'm sure many of you are aware, Turkey and Syria have been hit by a devastating earthquake recently, has killed thousands of people, critically damaged millions of homes, infrastructure, just absolutely heartbreaking stuff. So we've decided to make this mission so that any purchased photos, all proceeds will be donated to the public good. This is a charity that makes sure that the money will be donated exactly to the people who need it most. Next up, we have the free mission known as the Emotions mission. For this one, we've got fear, anger, surprise, sadness, disgust, and happiness. These are kind of your 6 archetypal primal emotions. We want you to highlight those and show us exactly how they represent, or they're represented in just one image. Now you might be wondering, how am I going to get this across in a way that doesn't seem kind of fake or inauthentic? Well, there's a really cool way, and it actually involves kind of being a bit of a director when it comes to getting these photos done. So my advice, get a subject like a friend, hire a model or something, and just sit there and talk to them. Try to find out what makes them happy, what makes them sad. And then as you're having this discussion, just kind of, when you see those emotions kind of overcoming them and just creeping onto their face, whip out that camera, snap the shot, you might get a winner. And who knows, you might end up winning some money. Next up, we've got what's new at Foap. Well, we've got a couple new things coming up, and the first is our Explore section and the Sold Photos tab. We've made some improvements here that will now increase the resolution of the images there so that it makes the experience a lot more beautiful and a lot more fun for anybody scrolling around. Another thing that we've done is we've increased the performance of our Android app with a back-end update. Now this will give Android users a lot smoother of an experience when they're using the Foap app. So if you haven't already, definitely get that thing updated and get it up on your phone and winning you some money as well. And that concludes the meat and potatoes part of the webinar so far, but we do have one more thing that we'd like to do, and that's a little bit of communication with our community and our audience. So we'd like to bring it up for a bit of a Q&A session right now, and we'll do that for maybe 3 or 4 questions. So should be expecting those coming very soon. Let's just see. Do we have anything yet? Not just yet. I wish we had some kind of royalty-free Jeopardy style music. I can't really hum the tune because I don't even think I'm copyright cleared for that, but let's just I do have a guitar like right there, but I'm a horrible guitarist, so let's save that for another time. I don't want to scare our audience just yet. Do we have any questions? Oh, here's our first question. We got it. How does our selection process work? This is a fantastic question that comes up very frequently, and we will actually be making blog entries and articles about how this is done in greater detail. But to give you a quick overview, it's not too complicated at first glance. The first and most important thing is to stay on brief. Whenever we have a mission, we have a set of guidelines and things that we're looking for. This is called a brief, and you following it gives you the best odds of getting the best results. So for example, a lot of times we'll have missions like show us food from your country. Well, that food should kind of be reflective of your country. If you're from Chile, for example, showing us that Swedish sandwich might not be the best idea. On the other hand, if you're prompted to maybe do a hobby session and your hobby photo is of a motocross picture or somebody playing frisbee or I don't know, really anything, that is right in line, and you have a good chance of being promoted and then potentially being rewarded. Now, the other things that we look forward to are actual photographic compositional techniques, things like contrast, sharpness. If there's any sort of over processing, we might we might toss that image, unfortunately, because we like to keep our stuff here fairly neutral. We don't want these overblown, oversaturated images. So remember to keep that in check. Don't go crazy with the filters or anything like that. But really, at the end of the day, subject, composition, all this kind of stuff that you look for in a regular photo, that's kind of how we make our selection process. As I mentioned before, though, we will be going into greater detail in a future date, so stay tuned for that and we will get into it. Let's see what we have for our next question now, and nothing just yet. Let's see if I can get us a cool new little beat. And there we go. We've got our next question for today. Let's see what we got. Does one staff member choose winners, or is it a team vote? Well, we actually have what's known as a group of curators. There's not a massive team of them, but there is a few of them, and they work extremely hard and extremely diligently, filtering through all your photos, looking for any sort of weird inconsistencies, weird sort of non-photos, things that are not on brief. And essentially, thanks to their years of experience, they've gotten very good at this. And so these users can definitely crush through a mission in record time. Even I can't do it that fast. I've tried, and Jesus, it is outrageous. So fantastic work, guys. Anytime you want to, I think even in a future date, what we might end up doing is actually bringing these curators into the Foap Show, and then you can listen to them talk directly. I think that would be a very cool idea to get a bit of their perspective as well. All right, let's get our next question going on. Let's see if we have it here. Any chance with working with camera manufacturers for cameras as rewards? This is something we would absolutely love to do, and we can't talk about it just yet, but it is something that could potentially happen. It might not, but we're keeping that pretty close to the chest for now because we don't want to announce anything before it's not ready. But this is something that I'm definitely looking forward to trying to get, at least so that we could at least have these camera manufacturers working with us to help you guys get any information that you might have about new equipment and how it works. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we're here for, right? And let's do one more question for today, and that one is... one user has well, it wasn't really formatted as a question, but it is that more of a statement that mobile photos are not considered. Well, actually, this is not true. We love photos. For example, some of the ones that we had today were taken with iPhones and other mobile devices. For example, the under the bridge photo was taken with a iPhone 12 mini, if I'm not mistaken. So these photos are actually still very good. The quality is really nice. The resolution is all there. There's really no reason why we would discount a photo just because it's taken on a phone. You know, there are places where the DSLR or the mirrorless camera can exceed the quality of a photo taken, you know, with a mobile phone or a point and shoot camera. But we're not elitists like that. At the end of the day, the best camera is the camera that you have on you. So it's better to take a photo with your phone and submit that than not take the photo at all. I mean, really, photography is all about just capturing a moment, capturing an image, capturing a feeling. And it really doesn't matter if you're using $10,000 worth of equipment there or just a simple consumer phone that you just have in your pocket with a small sensor and a fixed lens. I mean, think about it back in the day. Some of the earliest photos we had were pinhole photos, and they captured and piqued people's interests. And I mean, pinhole camera is about as simple as it gets. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with mobile photos, and we love and welcome them. Take as many as you can, send them our way. We'd love to see more of them. I think that's it for today, but I seem to be getting one more buzz, so I think that is looking pretty good. For any questions that were missed, we will definitely answer them in a blog post coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. And get ready because we will be coming up with more Foap Show episodes, hopefully in about 2 weeks. So stay tuned. We will be dropping an announcement soon. Anyhow, that's it for today. I've been Philly, and I've been very happy to talk to you today. So have a fantastic night, and see you.